What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay McLovin here with Celeste Marie Wilson on another edition of the Whiskey Hour. Hope you guys liked the last one we did. We talked about movies and had a really good time doing it. And today we got Bobbie Gentry versus Dolly Parton. And it's going to be a hell of a good show because I like both of these artists a lot. And it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Before I introduce Celeste, if you want to catch any of Celeste Marie Wilson's music or events or merchandise or anything of that nature, go to CelesteMarieWilsonMusic.com and you can find Celeste Marie Wilson on Facebook as well. She is gathering up quite the following. How you doing, Celeste?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
I have no complaints. You know why? Because it's nice outside. It's not freezing.
It is. It's not freezing.
Not crazy. Yeah. I've been waiting for this weather for a hot minute.
Jay, I think we need to show off our friendship bracelets.
Yes.
I have mine on. You have yours on.
I do. Yes.
Mine says dream.
Yes. And I think mine's, I kept trying to read it and Melly had to tell me. So it says the magic we made long lived. Yes.
Yeah.
I had to write. I'm not the best at starting and finishing, so I don't ask me, Celeste. It's crazy.
It's a Taylor Swift lyric. It's a Taylor Swift lyric. It's from her song Long Live.
Yes. And my wife reminded me of that. But I am terrible at reading things that embrace, I don't know, Celeste.
And it goes in a circle. So where do you start? Where do you end?
Yes, and Celeste, I was staying in this circles for a hot minute, like a hamster on a hamster wheel, until my wife pulled it off, laid it flat, and said, Jay, this is what it says. And I said, oh, and the light bulb came on. So,
and you went, oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes you got to feel like you're in reading class again. That happens to me all the time.
Man, hey, listen, I was good with English and reading, I was good. History, science, not too bad. But math, oh man, anything math or calculus or physics, that's too many crazy words and they don't vibe with what Jason was trying to do in school. It just didn't happen. What kind of student were you? Did you take those really hard classes?
Yeah, I was a straight A student on the dean's list.
Look at you.
Man. I'm very good at taking tests. Oh, test taking? Test taking doesn't translate to practical skills.
Yeah, my phone's acting up, so we won't be able to do the song today. I was hoping I was going to be able to do it, but it's just doing something of its own. So I don't know. I'm probably got to get looked at because I Facebook is really, really crazy. So, for example, there was a post about the Houston Astros, and it looked pretty interesting. So I'm like, okay. So I click on the post to read about it, and it turns out to be one of those things that says, hey, your phone has been infected with virus. And I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Oh.
So anyway, I think that's what's going on. So I'm probably going to have to take it down to Apple and get them to do whatever magic it is they do down there.
That sucks, Jay.
It does, man. Like you can't even like read a post without having to worry about viruses. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Long story short, Celeste, it probably hasn't happened to you. So don't ever click on any link. I don't care what it is, because you don't know, man. You don't know what you're clicking on and what viruses are a part of it. So don't ever do that.
I know. I hate it when people like just scam other people for no. I don't know why. You know, maybe that makes me sound silly, but I don't know why. Like, what's the point?
I don't know, Celeste.
Maybe they're selling the data.
You know, and that's true, though. That's a very valid point because I think people do that kind of stuff, honestly. Anywho, that's another subject for another day. Let's get into this. Let's start off with Dolly Parton, Coat of Many Colors. Celeste, you're as a woman, you have first rights to talk because you know why? You taught me that the other day. Jason, ladies always go first, and I remembered that. My mom actually reminded me as well. So please, without further ado, take us away.
Okay, perfect. I chose Dolly Parton because I listened to who Jay sent, and I always try to make my artist match his artist because that way it's more exciting when they have some similarities.
Yes.
And when I was listening to what Jay had sent me, I thought Dolly Parton. So then I went through and I chose my two favorite Dolly Parton songs, and I love "Coat of Many Colors" because I think it's just such a a beautiful, beautiful message. But on top of it, I grew up an acolyte in my Episcopal church.
Okay.
So I did all the Bible study stuff, all the whatever. And the reason I like Coat of Many Colors so much is Father Bill was giving all the kids these different passages they needed to study, and he had given me that passage, and so I read a whole bunch about it and whatever, and because he had told me that he felt like it was something I was struggling with at the time because I was like in middle school and being picked on kind of thing. And
Right.
so that song like just feels extra personal because of that. And I was like, I just, you know,
Yeah.
love it, and the sentiment behind it, and how she's able to weave, something that's such an old story into something that is personal
Yes.
together.
Yes, very much. Um, yeah, Dolly Parton is a very well, first of all, she's self-made, right? I mean,
Mhm.
everything she has, literally, she has done it for herself, I mean, I'm sure she, a lot of other things, but Porter Wagner's show and things like that she got on. And then, of course, she leaves, that show, and we'll talk more about that later, but she leaves that show and then she gets off and does her solo career and things of that nature. But you're right, she really started from like literally nothing.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, and it
Actually
was interesting.
nothing.
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting because she took it from rag. Like I thought that was interesting. I feel like anytime somebody in your family makes something for you, like for example, my grandmother, when I was a little kid, she would make us pajamas, right? They weren't the most fanciest looking pajamas, but they were pajamas, and I was so happy with it. Mine had a little giraffe on it, whatever. It was cool. But I always appreciate when people make things and then they give it to you, because I don't think that people realize the amount of sacrifice and the amount of time and energy that gets put into that, and how much they care for you to do something like that, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's like I love that whole thing of like the being rich comes in multiple ways. You can be physically rich,
Right.
financially rich, but then it's like there's this kind of rich that you can't buy, and you can't really do anything for. You just kind of either you have it or you don't. And
Yeah.
that family thing is something I certainly don't take for granted. I think I'm rich in the family I have, but it's like being able to stand there and be like, yeah, this is my mom and she made this, like my
Yeah.
mom made my website.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and it's like I think my website looks just as good as a lot of people who had really fancy website designers. And it's like that kind of stuff where you have someone close to you make
Right.
something for you that you like need, whether it's for your business or to be warm, like a physical need. It just is very meaningful.
Bo chimes in and said, "Hey y'all, hey, what's up, Bo? I podcast with Bo on another show. He's up there in around the Seattle area, and so he gets to listen to all that good Seattle music. But yeah, the one thing about Dolly Parton that I really I love, and she even said it. She does a lot of her music that could be family oriented and things like that. Little girls look up to. She tries to keep her music very wholesome, and she always puts a little. There's always a little message in all of her songs. I don't know if you ever picked that. There's always a message in
Oh
there.
yeah, there is.
Yeah, and so this lesson in this particular song was all about how do I say it's all about, like you said, closeness of family and what really matters the most. Does money really matter? Is that what really drives you, or is it the closeness of your family? Now, having money is a nice thing. Like we all, that's what you need to survive. But you also, if you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have a close family, or if you're very distant with your family, then you're missing out on a big part of who you are as a person and where you came from, and their legacies. One thing was interesting. So that song, Dolly Parton, "Coat of Many Colors," was actually from the biblical reference. It was a story of Joseph in the book of Genesis, which which also told of her sewing the coat. Right. So there was a coat of many colors that Joseph wore. in the book of Genesis. And that's kind of what she was referencing that song back to. Not only was it about her family and her mom, but what Joseph did, and that's how she got the name Coat of Many Colors. So I think it's just interesting how a lot of things come together, and it's just the way her voice is. Like, her voice is so beautiful, man. Like, it's amazing, right?
It is. It is very much amazing.
Like, when she goes for those higher notes,
She just hits them.
Yes, one thing is crazy is when she goes for those higher notes, it's that falsetto. It's a very, very fragile falsetto. Like, it's a very gentle. You can almost hear it kind of shaking. That falsetto really shaking, right? It's not like a powerful falsetto. It's more of a reserved or conservative falsetto, but it's very, very delicate. When I always listen to her music, and I don't know how in the world, Celeste, I don't know if you were noticing it, but I watched that video on it, and she's playing an acoustic guitar, which is amazing. But she's playing it with these fingernails that are like this long,
I know.
And she's
I don't know how
she's
she does
picking it.
that.
Yeah, she's
It's like she's
it with
using her fingernails as picks.
Like, what the heck? And I was like, she's like a walking banjo. The way she picks, it's almost like a walking banjo. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
And I was thinking
yeah.
to myself, I asked you before, Celeste, and you had talked about when you were learning to play the guitar, how your fingers would hurt really, really bad while you were learning to get used to it. And I'm thinking, if that hurt you in your skin, what the heck did it feel like with their fingernails?
Girl, I don't know.
I just think that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I don't know. It's just, but again, the one thing I just love is the smoothness of her Southern voice, man. I mean, when you listen to Dolly, you just know, like, that's the stereotypical South, Paula Dean South, right? I mean, where you had that, that old feel about it, right? The draw, like the heavy draw, right? It's almost like that Georgia, like that Southern Georgia draw, but it's Tennessee, right? And Tennessee does have a draw, but I don't know. It was just amazing. We'll move on to the next song real quick. I Will Always Love You. And Celeste, talk about this song.
I chose this song because I thought it was hilarious. It always gives me a good laugh. I love the play on words, to get to say what she wants to say. The whole thing, I'm just in stitches every time I listen to it. I'm like, oh my goodness. But that sassy kind of, like, people know Dolly's sassy. But, like, a lot of her main things, like Jolene and these other songs that are huge and massive and sassy, are not her sassiest work.
Right.
Like, this one's way sassier.
I love 9 to 5. I always thought 9 to 5 was kind of sassy, when she's walking her polyester. Yeah, I love that. I love that version of Dolly. I really like the version of Dolly that was in the Chicken Ranch. The one that Marvin Ziller from Channel 13 covered, where Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. When she played in that, I thought she played it. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's a really good. Have you seen it?
I have not. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh man, if you want to see Dolly Parton at her finest in terms of how she
I'm gonna
acts,
write that down.
Yes, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. I'm telling you. And put in the comments, hey, if you guys have seen the movie Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Dolly Parton, put that in the comments. I'd be curious to know who else has seen that and what you think of it. And while she's writing that down, what did you like better? Did you like Dolly Parton's version of it, or did you like what's her name? It left my mind. Help me out there, Celeste. I can't remember her name. Whitney Houston. Man, it sucks to be old, Celeste.
For Whitney, this was not Whitney Houston, I don't think. This is the I Will Oil Men Love You.
Oh, I thought that was a mistype.
No, it's an old song.
I thought you were trying to say I will always love you, and I thought you mistyped. And I was gonna roll with it. Well,
no, it's an old I Will Oil Wells Love You. And she's talking about meeting an oil man. And instead of saying I'll always love you, she's like, I will oil wells love you. It's super sassy. You will laugh and laugh until your side hurts.
Okay.
But I think, didn't she write on I'll always love you?
I think I did. I will always love you.
Love
Yeah.
you, Dolly. Let me see. You know what? That is yeah. Yeah, she has a recorded version of that. Oh
And
my gosh, she's recorded everything.
I'm telling you, man, she is just all over the place. But can I just tell you about this little story? And I always love you because I think it's really kind of funny, right?
Yes.
And by the way, I'm sorry, man. I totally misunderstood that. I thought you were a
Oh,
fat
that's
finger.
okay.
I thought you were a fat finger type, and I'm like, oh, she didn't mean to say that. I think she meant I will always love. Because I didn't ever heard the oil version. I've never heard that. So
Yeah, she's got a.
I'm going to listen to that. Now that I know that that's not a typo, I'm going to go back and listen to it.
It's
And
also confusing. She like has so many albums
yeah,
out, Jay. She is a hustler. If you
oh,
had
yeah.
when you go to her albums, it just goes and goes and goes. It's
Well, she's been
like
around for a long time, and she's been putting
I
music out
know.
forever.
And when she was younger, she'd release like 2, 3 albums a year.
I don't know how she comes up with all that material. I do like Island in the Sun, I think it is called, with Kenny Rogers.
I love
love
that
that.
one.
Oh my God. Me and Melanie went to a Halloween party one time. No, we went to a Halloween karaoke party. That's what it was.
Oh dang.
And so best, and if you remind me of this, matter of fact, I'll text you the picture of it. I think it's in Melanie's phone. I'll have Melanie text you a picture of it, but it's me and Melanie dressed up as Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, right? And by the way, she makes a really good Dolly Parton, by the way. And we sang "Island in the Sun." We did that karaoke.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Celeste, Melanie is a great singer. She really is. Melanie is a very bluegrass type of singer. That's really her motif is bluegrass because she came from the mountains. You know what I mean? But so she's a very bluegrass type of singer, but she's got a great voice. But anyway, so we did a duet for karaoke, dressed as Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, and I think I did okay. It wasn't great, I don't think, but it wasn't bad. Like when people are bad, it wasn't bad.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Every now and then you go into a bar like and it's karaoke night and you didn't know it was karaoke night and you think, ooh, it shouldn't be karaoke night.
Yeah, like if 5 is an average karaoke performance, I think it was like right at like a 3, no, about a 4. I would give myself a 4. It was just a hair below average, but not like in the tank. Because if you're like a 1, you should have got up there in the first place.
That's the best. I love it when you hear a 1.
Man,
makes my night better.
Well, and I think the more you drink, the better it feels. But that's for another day, Celeste. But no, what was cool about this song, the reason why I want to point out, and I know you probably already know this because I know you know a lot about Dolly, probably even more than I know about her. But this song was actually, a lot of people think it's a love song or a heartbreak song where they're like a romantic breakup, but it's not. She was in it, like I said, she was in the Porter Wagner show, and she had decided that she had gone, I think, as far as she could go with that show, and she wanted to venture out on a solo career. And so what she did was she had let him know, hey, I want to go my own way. I don't want to hold you back from what you're trying to do, because what you're trying to do, I'm not trying to do anymore. I'm going to go this direction. And so Porter took it very hard. It was a very hard breakup for him at the professional level. It was a hard breakup. And so Dolly wrote this song, I Will Always Love You, as a way of saying thank you for all the things that you did for me. And, I'm trying to gently tell you that I still love you, but, I just got to branch out, and I don't want to intrude with what you're trying to do. So sometimes you got to let go gracefully out of a relationship, and it's very hard to let that go. But, the exit strategy in a relationship, whether it be romantic or business, has to be done delicately, because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, right? Because they're getting devastating news, right? So you got to do it in a gentle way. Or some people say, "No, Jay, just rip the Band-Aid off, let them heal." But I don't know. I feel like you got to do it in a gentle way.
I think it depends on the situation. Like if it's someone where it's like you've been working with them and you care about them and you really don't want to hurt them and they haven't really done anything wrong, it just isn't going to be the right path for you anymore. Then do it gently and leave with grace. But every now and then you got a stinker relationship and you just need to rip a Band-Aid off. Like some people won't respond to being spoken to gently, and you got to know when is what.
Oh no, absolutely. And one of the things that I liked about this when they were interviewing her about this song, and one of the questions was, well, what do you think about Whitney Houston covering this song? And she goes, oh my God. She goes, the way she arranged it, the way that she did it a cappella, and then came in, and the music blares, and so now you get this power. She's like, it was so awesome and so, and and the thing about it is, like I said, Dolly has, when you listen to the Dolly version of it, it's a very delicate, gentle song. But when you hear Whitney do it, it's very powerful ballad. They could both hit those high notes. But I think with Whitney's voice, you get the more harder power version of what she's doing, right?
Right.
But it's
Like that
amazing.
two different kinds of artists. Like you've got the artists where like Dolly when she sings is super focused on the words for you
Right.
to understand and listen to every word. And then got these artists and they want their job is to make you like jam out, Like
Oh, no,
Whitney
absolutely.
Houston's job is to make you party kind of thing, like with the big vocals and the big sound and it's like both of them are ways to feel, but they're just different approaches to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so I just thought it was very interesting, that, and that I thought it was interesting that she, felt that Whitney in some ways kind of did the song maybe even a little bit better than she did. That's kind of what she was saying. But I loved her response when they said, she's like, you know what? It could be Whitney's song, but I'm still going to get the cash because I wrote it. And I love that. She's like, just give me the cash, baby. That's all I need. Give me the cash. So, and again, if that movie was in, what was it? The Bodyguard. This song was in The Bodyguard. Remember when
Was it
when her
was it
when
in Titanic? Or am I
it might have,
crazy?
I don't know if it was. I don't think it was in Titanic. I think that if it was, it wasn't sung by Dolly. They might have done a different. They must have done a different version of
I
that.
think that was the one that had Whitney Houston.
It may be.
Yeah.
I just remember the Whitney version. I distinctly remember it in The Bodyguard because it was her film and she sang it, and so they obviously they're going to put it in there, and so that's the version that I remember. But I'm sure that thing's been
Yeah.
in. I'm sure it's been all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised.
It might have not been in the Titanic. The Titanic is I think a little before my time, so I don't remember it that well.
I love it when somebody says that was a little before my time, and I'm like, man, damn, I feel old. I just feel so old, but it's okay. Hey, you know
You're
what?
like,
That's
take it
okay.
back.
All right, I'm going to attempt this one more time and see if I can get
Okay.
this thing to go. Then we'll see. This is "Ode to Billy Joe" by Bobbie Gentry. All right, baby.
I was born in Chickasaw County. When I was 6, we moved to another region in Mississippi called the Delta. And we lived between two rivers. One was the Yazoo, and the other was the Tallahatchie.
Can you hear it okay, Celeste?
I can, yeah. I can hear it.
Okay.
It was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day. I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay. And at dinner time we stopped and walked back to the house to eat. And Mama hollered at the back door, y'all remember to wipe your feet. And then she said, I got some news this morning from Choctaw Ridge. Today, Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Papa said to Mama as he passed around the black-eyed peas, Billy Joe never had a lick of sense. Pass the biscuits, please. There's 5 more acres in the lower 40 I got to plant. And Mama said it was a shame about Billy Joe. Seems like nothing ever comes to no good up on Choctaw Ridge. Say recollect me, Tom and Billy Joe. frog down the back at the camp. And wasn't I talking to him at the church last Sunday night? Another piece of apple pie. You know, it don't seem right. I saw him at the sawmill yesterday up on Choctaw Ridge. And now you tell me Billy Joe's jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Mama said to me, child, what's happened to your appetite? Well, I've been cooking all morning. Just to see me. That nice young preacher, Brother Taylor, dropped by today. Please get dinner on Sunday. Oh, by the way, he said he saw a girl that looked a lot like you up on Choctaw Ridge. She and Billy Joe was throwing something on the Tallahatchie Bridge. A year has come and gone since we heard the news about Billy Joe. And Brother married Becky Thompson. They bought a store in Tupelo. There was a virus going round. Papa caught it and he died last week. And now Mama doesn't seem to want to do much of anything. And me, I spend a lot of time picking flowers up on Choctaw Ridge. Water off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
And there you have it. That was Ode to Billy Joe. I love that song. It's just amazing. So, okay, Celeste, what did you think about Ode to Billy Joe by Bobbie Gentry?
I love her storytelling. The way she like just puts things together, and the rhymes don't feel forced. You know, sometimes in songs things rhyme,
Right.
but it feels like you had to look up that rhyme to make the rhyme work.
Right.
If her rhyming just feels like she's speaking and like really sitting there and telling this story to us.
Right.
You know, and then her vocals, I love them. Instead of being like you know, instead of having that loudness that is awesome and powerful, and I love in like rock music, she's got this like quiet kind of power. Like by holding back and like speaking it makes it that when she pushes into a note, it's even more noticeable.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the one thing is, she's very much like she was kind of down the same line in which you're going. In other words, you know, we had talked about earlier how the music company kind of wants you to pick a genre and stick to that genre. And I think she kind of fused a lot of blues. You can hear the blues in it. I mean, she's like a female blues writer. You know what I mean? But she also does soul music. So it's kind of like soul and blues kind of put together. And it does have a very rock or southern rock type of feel, which I know that's kind of, you know, the direction that you're going into is southern rock. So I just think it was kind of interesting, the correlation, you know, her trying to get her sound out there, and then you're trying to get your sound out there. And it's interesting because I know you kind of do a lot of fusion a lot yourself, right? Right.
Yeah. I think that fusing things is super, super cool, especially if you can find like a way to stand and maybe this is me growing up with weird, like maybe this is because I grew up on like Pink Floyd and stuff. But in my head, if you can stand in a genre, like if you can stand in the genre of rock and then take folk elements and put it in there without moving out of your genre, and now you're just like, then it becomes like a sprinkle. And it's like figuring out how to do that takes you from being like a normal fusion artist to like this fusion artist who is, and the song kind of tells you where it wants to be when you write it, but it
Right.
like that intention of where you put fusion in is so cool, and you can really see it with both of these female songwriters that we
Oh
looked at
yeah.
today. You know, they both have a lot of, because Island in the Sun, I
Yeah.
remember that. Well, I don't remember because I wasn't alive then, but but I was like, my mom and I were talking about it, and she was telling me that when it came out, it was a really like big scandal thing because Dolly was country,
Yeah.
and that song has a lot of pop elements. But if she
Right.
didn't release that song after already being an established country artist as a duet, then she wouldn't have had, you know, that hit of a single. And
Right.
so learning when to explore and play is so cool, and just seeing people doing it. And it's wild though when it becomes a scandal. I couldn't believe that that song was a scandal.
That is, yeah, no, absolutely. And, I think having Kenny Rogers there still kind of kept a little bit of country vibe in it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it was not something that she would typically do. And I don't even think 9 to 5 is really even what she would typically do. I mean, that's kind of its own thing as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But,
it was.
with this Bobbie Gentry, that song was so dark though, too. I mean, the
It
interesting part
was.
about it was, so it's about two people who come together and, they have, they're together, right? They're boyfriend and girlfriend, but the parents don't know about it. They don't tell nobody. They're just on the down low, meeting up and doing whatever it is they're doing, right? So it's very, very down low, hush, hush. And so and Billy, I think, didn't like that. I think it was too much for him. And so he winds up, as the story goes, jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge on Tallahatchie Bridge on Choctaw Ridge. So he winds up jumping out there. And so they're talking about it at the dinner table that I can't believe this guy did this. Hey, pass me the green beans. Like nonchalant. Hey, hey, pass me the it's like no big deal. And then the whole time she's like, "That's my boyfriend," and you're talking about my boyfriend in a casual way. I mean, that had to have been difficult
Yeah.
for her to sit at that dinner table and not cry about the loss of him. And then they're talking about it so nonchalantly. I mean, that had to be hard.
Right. And that's like an interesting kind of, it's an interesting kind of like scene because, you know, from the parents' perspective, they don't know this person like hardly at
Right.
all. So they're just talking about it like, oh,
Right.
I heard da da da, I heard da da da. But, you know, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But that kind of unique scene that that kind of like personal kind of like storytelling is what draws people to these kinds of songs. There's so much emotion when it's like, instead of, there was this writing thing that I was listening to done by Margaret Atwood. She's an author, not a songwriter, so it's a little
Okay.
different. But she
Yeah.
was talking about the story of Little Red Riding Hood and how you can tell it where it's like, you know, Little Red Riding Hood went to the forest and then went to see
Right.
her grandmother. But if you change the perspective of the story and you start it in a different point, it changes the whole story. Like you could say
Yeah.
it was cold inside the wolf, and now you're from the grandma's perspective, starting in the middle, and it changes the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so, like, this story is very much like a perspective kind of shift because it could have started where she met him. It could have, but she was very intentional with where she started it and the scene she
Oh,
laid out
absolutely.
in there. And that I think is, you know, a very sad song, but a very powerful way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I listen to her sound, like I said, I pick out a lot of blues elements. I pick out some soul elements. There's a little kind of have she had kind of with the acoustic guitar, she kind of has some folk elements, country. I mean, you can see a lot of things within her, but she has a
Yeah.
very sensual voice. The way she sings, it's very sensual, Southern, style type voice. And I think that's one of the, again, like Dolly Parton, that's one of the things that gravitates me because I love Southern. I like the Southern language. I like how we talk. It's not like up north. It's more comfortable. It's more warm and it's just the way it is. Where Northerners are kind of, nothing against being in the North, by the way. Hey, I love all the people in the North, but being from the South, when you come to my house, like when your family came over for dinner, I'm asking, hey, can I get you something to drink? That's what we do. We come in, hey, have a seat on the couch. What can I get you? Do you want a soda, water, tea, whatever, And that's how everybody is in the South. I mean, at least in my family and some of the other families that I grew up in, right? We all kind of grew up in the same type. And we invite you in, we have a conversation, we offer you a beverage, and that's just the way we do, And I think if you ever watched The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon is from Texas, and that's one of the things he says all the time. Well, in Texas, it's very etiquette that I offer you a beverage and offer you a seat. That's what we do, though, Celeste.
It is.
And that's what I love about the South, because I think in the South we're more inviting. We're a very friendly bunch of people, and we're inviting until you piss us off, and then we go for a shotgun. No, we don't. I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. But no, one of the things that I thought was interesting about that song, though, is the mystery that is left, because it tells you that they throw something off the bridge, but it doesn't tell you what they threw. And I always wonder, like, what the heck were they throwing off that bridge? Like, what would have been? It had to have been something that was secretive that they didn't want anybody to find. And I don't know what that is, but it's got to be something, that would have been. That would have done something to them, I think, or somebody finding out about them. And I just thought that was crazy to me. But again, like Dolly Parton, she just has that Southern draw, that Southern way of singing it. And I love it both. I mean, I love both of them. I think they're just amazing. But yeah, so that was Ode to Billy Joe. And we're going to go on to our last song. And that was Son of a Preacher Man. Now this one, she did not write and she did not perform it first, but she did cover it. And also Aretha Franklin also covered it. Matter of fact, Celeste, this song was actually written for Aretha Franklin, and it wound up going to this lady, Dusty, whatever her name is. I can't remember her last name. It starts with an MC, but anyway, she lives out McAllister. I think it's Dusty McAllister, but she lives out in England, and she's the one that actually first performed it. And I think then Aretha did it, and then eventually Bobbie Gentry. But what did you think about "Son of a Preacher Man"?
Oh, well, I've heard the song before, and immediately I was like, I didn't know she did this song. And then I was like getting into it kind of thing. It's that very specific kind of dialect that we have like a lot already in the South. And when you hear something where they're like talking in a way that it's almost like, and of course, dialect changes no matter what region you are in, even like East Texas versus North Texas versus South Texas versus Central, like the dialect changes within Texas because people don't realize how big the state is and how big the Southern United States is. Like Texas is bigger than France, and there's different,
Oh no, it is. It's huge.
It's huge. But it's like hearing those songs and just kind of like these integral things that it's like we know about. Like if someone's like, I'm dating the son of a preacher, I'm like, oh,
that's taboo. You don't want to do that.
I'm like, oh, you're dating the son of a preacher? Why? That's the why. We all know that's the wild child. If you say, if my brother or one of my guy cousins came home and said, I'm dating the daughter of a preacher, I'd be like, no, you're not. I'd be like, that's a terrible decision. But it's like sometimes people who aren't from here or like haven't experienced that culture, they're like, why? I'm like, oh, you don't know? It's just, I don't know. It's like I never had a discussion about it. It just is like ingrained in your brain. So the minute I saw the title, I was like, I know what this is going to be about.
It's funny because it is because like Melanie's brother, he lives up in Missouri, but he's a Methodist preacher. And so, when I first got introduced to her family, there was a lot of biblical things that were told to me, and my mom goes, "I'm glad that boy finally found a good old Christian girl because that boy was all over the place." But anyway, So Melanie gave me religious credibility. There you go. I got like Bible cred now.
Okay, that's good.
I don't quote the Bible, but apparently, because I date her, and she got me back into church. Now I'm, I got Jesus cred, which I still don't. They treat me differently now. They look at me like, well, you're still a sinner, but now you got Jesus in your heart, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, I do. so
don't
it is.
Look at the end,
I pray every night. I do. I really do pray every night. I pray that I don't do anything stupid in the next day, and that's really what I pray for. But that doesn't always work. I think you've noticed that I'm a little weird and a little crazy.
See,
okay.
I grew up Episcopal, so we had those prayer books. So you didn't just pray willy nilly. You had but you're basically Lutheran. You don't get any excitement. You have to read what it says, and it's got a list of what you get to pray for. The first time I was at a thing where I think I was in high school and I was being homeschooled, and I was with like a bunch of these kids, and they would just like, I wouldn't call it like freestyle prayer, but I know that's what it's called, where they just kind of like are like, they just like open the prayer and then start praying. I was so lost, Jay. I was like, oh shoot, we're doing that right now. Where's the book? And then I was like, it so threw me off. I wasn't like, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't realize it was like a thing. And I was like, dang. I was like, I thought we had to have a little book.
So what you're saying? So what you're saying was, so you were it was very scripted. Like there was a certain, everything had to be so perfect, right? See, I was in a Baptist church, and again, Baptist churches are kind of like that too, right? I mean, hey, I guarantee you're not going to be in a Baptist service any longer than an hour. When it's done, it's done. There's no lingering. There's no anything. He just cuts it off, and out you go out the door. And while he's praying, he's walking to the back of the thing to kick your butt out the church so he can go home and watch the football game. That's how Baptists roll. But Celeste, my Aunt Beverly is a devout Catholic. And so she wanted me to go to church with her. And I said, you know what? My Aunt Beverly is like my third mom. I got like 3 moms. My Aunt Gladys, my Aunt Beverly, and then my actual mother. So my third mom asked me to go to church with her, and I wasn't going to tell her no because it would have broke her heart. So I went to church. And here's the thing. When you sing in a Catholic church, it's not like you're in a Baptist church. Like Baptists, we sing. I mean, we're pretty loud and boisterous. No. No. And Catholic, you're very low and you're very right under the radar all the way through.
Oh,
and you stay very, very, and you got to be very, very quiet. Like you cannot talk. You got to be super quiet. Do you know that woman slapped me a couple of times in the back of my head? She said, "You're singing too loud, Jay. It's Catholic church, not Baptist." I'm saying, well, you Baptist into a Catholic church. What did you expect? And I'm also a very talkative person, so you kind of knew what you were getting when you invited me to a Catholic church. I said, you know what? I think you set me up for failure, Aunt Beverly, but I'm here to be a success. I'm still going to praise Jesus, and we're going to keep rolling. And so I've never been invited back to the Catholic church, so that's that. So now I'm non-denominational because I like non-denominational churches because you know why, Celeste? You go in there and it's just free. Like you can just be free. You can sing, you can dance, you can do whatever you want to do. They don't care as long as you're doing it with Jesus.
Well, dang. The Episcopal church is the same way. It's like you sing, but you can sing. If you're not in the choir, now if you're in the choir, you can do what you want. But if you're not in the choir, you got to sing quiet. You got to sing so quiet. And for some reason, they've got all this sheet music.
Right.
That nobody can read. So, you know what I'm saying? Like they're giving everybody that walks in sheet music, and I can read sheet music, but I know darn well the people behind me can't. And it would be one thing if you had people singing loud so we could follow the melody, but nobody's singing loud. So if you mess up because you can't read sheet music, everybody knows.
Oh, yeah. And so kind of getting back to this, did you notice the running theme between these two songs? Both of these relationships and both of these songs are secretive. Like they don't tell anybody about it, you know. So this is the second time in one of her songs that she's done that is about a secret relationship. And so it's basically this young woman or the song is about a young woman who comes into her motherhood and starts to really explore her sexuality, right? And so she meets this guy, and he winds up being the son of a preacher. And so, like you said, it's very taboo. You don't want to be, sex and all this. It's very, and it winds up being that she's overly sexual, and he has to teach her how to be intimate and loving when you're doing the act rather than just the motions of the act. And so it's interesting that the preacher's son, who's supposed to be this image of his father, which is biblical, he's teaching her how to have sex. And then so they're having sex on the down low is basically what I'm saying, and nobody can know about it. Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard, Celeste?
It is crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, when you think about it, it's absolutely nuts because you got contrasting upbringings. You got the one where she's innocent, and then you got him who has experience, and then those things come together and have the perfect storm.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It
is crazy.
But in the biblical world, that's some hell and brimstone and fire, Celeste.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in this one, in this particular song, you can hear the soul music come out. You can also pick up the country side of it. And I think it's just really, really fitting. Like this song was made. I know Aretha did a good job of it, but I really like the bluesy version or the country soulful version that she did. What do you think? I don't know if you've ever heard the Aretha Franklin version, but it's not bad.
I think I have.
Yeah.
I think I like them both. They're just kind of for different moods,
Yes. Yes. Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's just like the Heard It Through the Grapevine song,
Yes.
It's like the Creedence Clearwater version is not for the same mood as, the other versions, because there's so many versions of Heard It Through the Grapevine.
Oh, yeah, because you had the Dancing Raisins the California Raisins. Remember that one? That was always lighthearted, whatever, have a good time type, right? I mean, and I did say her name wrong. I wanted to make that right. So it's Dusty Springfield. And that song is actually on her album, Dusty in Memphis. So if you want to hear the original first artist that did it, you got to go get the Dusty in Memphis album by Dusty Springfield if you want to check that out. That was actually recorded back in 1968. And that actually was recorded, or I should say the song was written between 30 to 45 minutes by T Music in Nashville. And then she went out and made it her own thing, right? And then obviously, like I said, Aretha Franklin's done. There's a lot of people that have done this song. But the one thing I thought was interesting was, again, it's just the contrasting of the way this got done. I mean, it's a beautifully written song, and I can't believe it. Imagine like Celeste, in 30 to 45 minutes. Is that the typical amount of time that it takes to write a song for you, or like how long does it normally take you to write a song?
I would say, the range is kind of big, but anywhere between 15 minutes to 2 hours is my average time. Something between there. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower.
So it really just depends on how the creative energies get flowing in you.
Yeah, and what the song is, because it's like things like my song Fairy Fruit took me like 15 minutes to write because I got the chorus first, so that's over half the song done. And then I just need a verse, get those two verses and the bridge, and you're done. And so it's like all about how complicated the chord structure is. If you want to talk about something that's more harder to talk about, because if it's hard to talk about, then it's going to take longer to write because, you have to sit there with those feelings. But like party songs don't take that long. I don't think.
It's interesting. Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. Because is it the depth of structure that's not as hard because you can make catchier rhythms, or what exactly is about a party song that's easier?
I think it's because for me, and of course it's different for everyone, but for me, it's the not having to like when you're talking about something that's serious or makes you maybe a little uncomfortable, you kind of have to sit there with it while you're writing it. And sometimes it's like you have to take like breaks between writing it and come back and try again. And, every now and then you make yourself cry at the piano, and that's weird. But for a
You go through the
party
whole
song that,
motions.
yeah, you go through all of it. But for a party song that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Like it just doesn't. So you're not having to work on the emotional side of the songwriting. You're just focusing on purely the songwriting and the lyrics. And like a party song, of course you can like make twists and turns on things and make it fun, but it's not the same as trying to capture those sad feelings, because it's like you don't want
Right.
to overdo what people have already said. Like, I don't want to be like, I was sad and it rained and my heart hurts and I'm blue, like that. I don't want to say that. So but then it's at the same time, those are cliches for a reason.
Right.
So it's like finding different ways to say, because when you are sad, your chest physically does hurt, you
Right.
know although I have found that every time, like when I'm in the depths of despair, Jay, I always get up and it's like beautiful outside, and then I'm
Yeah.
mad. I'm like, what the heck? Like, that's the thing that sucks. It's like I've
I'm
never
glad you
had
said
the
that
weather
though.
cooperate.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I'm wondering. I know a lot of people have a lot of artists that I've talked to, have different rituals or different habitual things that they do. I've been to some sound checks and things like that, and I've seen they kind of had this rhythm. When it was the Eagles, they always came together. They would sing Seven Bridges Road backstage, but get their harmonies ready before they went out on stage and sing. Is there anything performance wise or writing wise, is there any particular habits that you have that you do to get yourself in the mood for either writing or performing?
Well, for writing, I usually have some tea or coffee, and then I sit down at the piano and just go. Like, if I've got something already in my head, great. If I don't, I'm about to make something. For performing, I have two rituals, really.
Okay.
Before I get on stage, I always go to the bathroom, I always wash my hands, and I put a lipstick on right before I get on. You don't want to go on with wonky lipstick. And
No.
then and then usually I'll say kind of like it's like kind of like just a quick little prayer, just to kind of
Right.
center yourself. Not about me doing a good job, but about the audience enjoying what I'm doing, kind of
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
That they have a good time, kind of thing. Um, and then I'll go and get on stage. It takes like 5 minutes to do all that, and then I'm ready to go.
You know what I've always wondered, and no, it's just I have always wanted this. I've always wondered when you're when an artist is on stage, and let's say you're kind of like right in the middle of a set, and
Hmm.
what do you do if you're like even in the middle of a song? Even what do you do when you got to go to the bathroom? Do you like because you just can't stop? So how would you approach something like that?
That's
I
why you
was
go to the
like even
bathroom
Taylor
before you
Swift. I've always
start.
wondered.
You just go to the bathroom
Man,
before you start.
I know Celeste, but if you're like me, I pee a lot, Celeste. I could go to the bathroom right now and still pee in about 5 minutes. I don't know, it's weird, but and I guess that's why I always wonder those things. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, man, there's no way I'm gonna make it to a concert without having to go
Well,
to the
three
bathroom.
hours is long, I guess. Yeah. It's a long time to not pee.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna
You
do?
know what?
I'm gonna Google that. I'm gonna say, what do artists do when they have to go to the bathroom and they're on
And
stage?
you need to come. You need to tell us next week, Jay.
I'm
Do
gonna
a
do
little
that. I'm
research.
gonna do my research and I'm gonna
Do a
get
little
back to you.
research.
And not only am I gonna do that, but I'm going to do the oil song that you have in there, and I'm going to give you my opinion of it because I don't want to
Okay,
let you down.
perfect.
I really feel bad as I thought that was a misspell, and I thought I was doing the right thing because I was like, I'm not gonna bother her. She's probably got things going on, and so I'm just gonna roll with this. And apparently, I rolled wrong. And I blame
You
I
were rolling
blame Melanie because I
sideways.
told Melanie, I said, Melanie, I said, look at this. I said, what do you think this is? I'm thinking this is I will always love you. She's like, yeah, that looks like a misspell to me. And so I'm blaming her too because she should know. She got family out in Tennessee and on the she should know these kinds of things. So I'm going to give her
Mhm.
a good earful. No, I'm not.
Oh
No,
no, no. Let's
no.
go to the
'Cause-
second thing, Jay, and
no,
then let's go to
no,
the
no, no.
third
I'm
thing.
going
Let's go
straight
to
to
the
the third.
third thing.
I'm going straight to the third, Celeste, because my second things are almost as bad as people's first things. Because Jay's brain goes a million. If you've not figured me out, my brain goes a
Mhm.
million miles an hour, and I just try to get it to
That's
slow
okay.
down. Okay, folks.
My brain, I get really bad zoomies. So my energy's like up here half the time.
Squirrel.
It's a superpower if you can harness it.
It really is. If you can harness that level of energy, yeah.
It's
And I still don't know
superpower.
how you jumped on that couch and didn't break your back or leg or something. 'Cause if I tried to do that, I would have slapped right on the floor. That would not have worked
You
out
didn't
well.
you didn't see my broken leg?
Oh, you had a broken leg in that?
No, I'm yanking your chain.
Man, I know. I was about to say because I didn't think I saw it. I was about to go rewatch that. I was going to try to find it again. Oh gosh, she did have a cat. No, I don't think. I don't.
No,
I
I
don't think. I
didn't.
mean, okay, Jay. Common sense says that she has a broken leg. There's no way she's even walking without crutches. So let's rein it back in, guys. I gotta tell myself to rein it in and use some common sense because I'll go straight blonde on you too. I got blonde hair too. I know it don't look like it, but it's dirty blonde, but it's blonde. But so I do
It's the
have my
blonde
moments.
leading the blonde.
What could possibly go wrong?
Not
Everybody needs a good brunette in their life. You know. Now isn't Josh's hair? He's got, if I remember, he had brown hair, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has like dark hair.
Yeah. See, so yeah. So if you ever want to bounce things off of him, because he would be the pragmatic one. So he will give you the right stuff. But all right, folks. You can check us out next week. This time, Wednesday at 3:00, when me and Celeste are gonna find out what we're gonna do. I can tell you though, that song "Oil Well," I've got it in there.
Oil wells love you.
I will oil wells love you, and I feel like that's like somebody who has a speech impediment. But we're gonna do that. And I'm gonna give you what I think about that song, and then we'll have more of a conversation. So maybe we'll do that song, and then if you have another song by another artist you want to throw in there, Celeste, I like to do at least 2 songs. You can throw that in there as well. So we'll find out what her other song is gonna be, and then you're gonna find out what my 2 songs are by my artist, and it's gonna be a hell of a good time. Until next time, it's your boy Jay McLovin, along with Celeste Marie Wilson. Celeste, are you gonna be performing anywhere this weekend or next weekend if people want to come see you play?
Next weekend, I am going to be in Baton Rouge playing at a Mardi Gras festival. Check my website for more details.
There you go, folks. Like I said before, it's Celeste Marie Wilson Music.com. And you can always check out her stuff if you want to see what she's doing daily at Celeste Marie Wilson on Facebook. It's Jay McLovin with Celeste Marie Wilson saying deuces.